I'm Mick Mulvaney. For about 15 months, I was President Trump's chief of staff during his first term. Before that, I actually was the budget director in his cabinet, was also a financial services regulator at the same time. Before that, I spent about 6 years in Congress, was on the Financial Services and the Budget Committee, founder of the blockchain and the Bitcoin caucuses, also founder of the Freedom Caucus, the right-wing faction within the United States House of Representatives. I don't talk about Donald Trump's politics. I talk about Donald Trump in terms of trying to educate and to a certain extent entertain. I'm not interested in making you like Donald Trump. I'm not interested in making you dislike Donald Trump. I'm interested in trying to educate you how Donald Trump thinks, how his team operates, and to a certain extent more broadly, how Washington works. I think I've had more jobs in Washington, D.C. in the past 15 years than anybody else. I've seen it from the legislative branch, I've seen it from the executive branch, and I think I've got some insights as to how the town works and doesn't work. Short version, it is its own thing. It's not a business, it's not Wall Street, it's not any nonprofit organization that you're familiar with. Washington is a truly unique place with its own rhythm, culture, and language, and I try to educate people as to how that is. To do that, I like to tell stories. I've got some of the most, listen, when you spend as much time with the President of the United States as the Chief of Staff does, you'd come up with some really interesting stories, but they're not just stories for the purpose of telling stories. They're stories for the purpose of telling, again, how Washington works, how Donald Trump works, and what you might expect in the next 3.5 years. Or at least in the next year and a half until the next midterm elections. I do talk a little bit about both political parties, their strengths, their weaknesses, the next generation of leadership that you might see coming out of the Democrats and Republicans, what you might see at the next midterms, what issues might come to the forefront that aren't there right now, how we might deal with the issues that face us now, things that are happening in Gaza, things that are happening in Ukraine, the relationship between the U.S. and China, perhaps just as interestingly, and I think almost as complicated, the relationship between the U.S. and continental Europe. So again, I'm not interested in giving a speech. I'm not interested in coming in and lecturing people on how things are. I'd love to sit down and have conversations with folks about how Washington works and how the personalities interact with each other. So I've had a good bit of time doing it. I've a good bit of fun doing it for the last year or so, and maybe we get a chance to do it together. Thanks very much.